This is just a short video to try and support you with the events management unit. And remember, events management is a big unit. It's part of your 3 unit assignments. So it's not just events management, it's communication and it's teamwork. So this is just a short video clip to guide you through what you need to be doing while I'm away. So what you need to be completing is you need to be doing P3 and P4 from events, and also you can just see towards the bottom there, P3 from comms. So what that is, that's the event plan. Now obviously you've got your events you're working on, and that needs to happen every week. You need to be looking at booking your venues, you need to be looking at your costings, you need to be looking at your budgets. But this applies particularly to the ones that are before Christmas. So the evening with Scott Atchell, the trip to Winter Wonderland, you know, you really need to be a lot further on than the rest of the guys. You need to have it ready. So in terms of all your equipment needs to be booked, your transport, your itinerary, all needs to be done. But alongside that, and this applies to everyone, you must have P3 and P4 nearly finished, or if not finished by the time I get back. So that means you must have your event plan. Now some of this is going to be the same in your group. So for example, when you look at the who's doing what, the individual responsibilities of the group, you could, like I said before, create a spreadsheet and just update that week in, week out, who's doing what. And then that can be just printed off or screenshot and put into all your files. However, the rest of it, or majority of it, needs to be written by you. It needs to be personally written. It's not a group effort in terms of the write-up, which is very important. So I'm just going to talk through these bullet points. Again, I have done this before, but I just think it's important to have it on record so that you can revisit it. At the top, we've got an overview of the event. So what are you doing? What is the purpose of this? What is the value of this? So is it enrichment? Is it bringing the college together? Is it a specific focus on marketing, branding or music? Is it fitness? Is it international culture? You've all got a purpose with your event. You need to talk about that purpose and talk about the value of it. So what will the impact of the event be after it's been done? The impact on the college, the impact on the individuals, the impact on the course. You need to look at, is it routine or non-routine? So is it a one-off? Is it going to happen every month, every year? You need to think about that. And is it formal or informal? So thinking about dress code, thinking about location. You should already know who your target audience is. You should already be able to picture the age, the background, the people that are going to your event. So it's just important as part of this plan to get onto paper who your target audience are, and just as importantly, how are you going to communicate effectively to them? And that's using verbal and non-verbal means. So that means that before the event, it's probably going to be mostly using technology. So how are you doing that? Probably email, I should have thought, maybe Facebook. But on the day, you're going to need to be, demonstrating positive body language. You're going to need to be very patient, maybe, if, for example, you're teaching in the schools. So it's important that you do have a small section here telling me how you're going to do that. Then we move on to the individual responsibilities of the group. So the idea that I talked about before was creating a spreadsheet with your names down the side, week 1, week 2, week 3, and so on the top, and you just have what are you doing each week. And what that does also is it makes sure everyone has a task, and then the following week you look back and say, right, well, have you done that? What's happened because of this? What's happened because of your research? What have you found out? You then need to look at how you're going to distribute the supporting documents. So again, it's probably going to be by email a lot, but you need to be thinking, who are you emailing? So some of you have been in contact with Barbara Green for health and safety. Some of you have been in contact with external clients. Some of you have been in contact with experts in college to create flyers. So all this needs to be documented here. You need to keep track of what you're doing. How are you demonstrating that you're communicating clearly and accurately? Then we move on to the venue itself. So what venue are you picking? Now here, if possible, some pictures would be good. So obviously if it's in college, great. The Winter Wonderland, Brussels or wherever is going to be a bit harder. They don't expect you to go there and come back just to take a few photos. But if you can obviously go online and download some pics. But the key to this is thinking about the size of it. Can it fit enough people? What facilities are there? So if you need toilets, are there toilets nearby? How close are they? Can people find them when they're there? Now a big contention is going to be catering. Do you need catering? So the 5K run, do we need water? I would say it's a nice touch and doesn't cost much, but it's up to you. Do we need refreshments for the evening with? Do we need refreshments at the five-a-side football tournament? All these need to be thought about. What is really important though is the layout. Now, for example, the classroom, you know it's going to be have the computers down the slides, but when it comes down to it after that, we can play around with the layout, and I do, depending on the session I'm going to teach. So when some of you did the SOL method, the research method with Kathy, you notice the tables were moved around differently. And that creates a different environment, it creates a different atmosphere. So when you're setting up your event, you need to think about what environment, what atmosphere do you want. So for example, the evening with, do you actually want all those seats down? Because that's going to be a very formal lecture, and that might work. Or do you want loads of groups of tables? So it's loads of tables in there, maybe 6 or 8 on a table. I don't know. This is what you need to think about. The event will be very different with each of those layouts. One will be more formal, but everyone will be able to see, and it might create the lecture, the evening with feel. The other one may be a little bit more informal, but people will be able to see what's going on. That's down to you. The resources required is massively important. Now you need to be really pedantic with this. Every single little thing that you need will need to be listed in this. Every single thing. So the recommendation from me will be to imagine, visualise if you will, that you're going on the trip and actually walk through it. What would you expect? If you're coming into Highbury, okay, I might have a car, so I need a parking permit. I don't know where I'm going. Do I need a map? Or do I need someone to guide me? Do I need t-shirts or high-vis jackets if we're working outside for the Highbury Biz branded? Do we need refreshments, tables, chairs? How many tables? How many chairs? Transports, itineraries? The list is endless. But your list will be specific to your event. And that's something that probably will be the same for everyone in your group. It does say all communication evidence from Outlook. Just keep them. Don't start printing or print screening them, because you are going to end up with reams and reams of emails, hundreds of emails most likely. So just make sure you've got them in Outlook. So if we are asked to provide them, then we can. But obviously I know you're doing it because I'm getting CC'd into them, but don't worry too much about printing yet. The travel booking, so do we need transport? And if we do, from where, the costs, the confirmation. Just going back to supporting documents, you're all going to create a risk assessment. So that's going to be in there. You are going to have to do a risk assessment for every single one of these events. And Barbara will work with you to do that, but it's just something worth mentioning at this stage. The final part of this task, which is going to be quite creative, and a lot of you have either done one or moved on to start to do these, is creating the marketing communications to support the event. So you need to make sure that you create at least 2 different types of marketing communications. So the lists there is poster, leaflet, packaging, design of the van, a banner, but that is not the exhaustive list. If you think there's something else that you want to create that will help promote your event and communicate the purpose, communicate the details, booking information of the event, that's fine. What you must make sure though, going back to actually P1 for marketing, is your event brand is there. So you must make sure the colour scheme, logo, layout, ethos, that 3-dimensional character that we talk about when we're branding a product or an event, it must be evident across the marketing communications. And if it's not, it wouldn't actually meet that criteria. So that's very, very important. So I've really quickly there gone through P3, P4 in events and P3 in comms. You'll notice that there's also some parts of comms as part of the event. Don't worry about that right now. We're just trying to make this unit a little bit easier for you so you're not repeating yourself. There's quite a lot to be getting on with there. You've also got the marketing work. So just please make sure that you've all got the majority of this completed by the time we come back. I really want to have a look at, and so we can actually talk through your event plans. Because you'll feel a lot more confident about your event when the event plan's complete. Obviously we'll talk through that when I return. Thank you.